Appreciation Society. God save Donald Duck, Vaudeville and variety. We are the Desperate Dan Appreciation Society. God save strawberry jam and all the different varieties. Serving the old ways from being abused. Protecting the new ways for me and for you. What more can we do?
Right. Good morning, everyone. My name is David, and today I am running a session of Bite Marks, which is a Powered by the Apocalypse game by Becky Anderson of Black Armada Games. Bite Marks is a game about playing a werewolf pack who have to kind of band together to fight against various threats to their existence and to keep up their traditions and livelihood in general. Bite Marks was kickstarted earlier this year. It is imminently going to be released. I think it's available for pre-order now. And I'll put a link down to where you can find out more about the game down in the comments box thing below. This game is being run as part of GauntletCon 2019. The Gauntlet is an online role-playing game community. We play a lot of indie games of all stripes, of story games, OSR stuff, all across the board, really. Again, you can find out more about us at the website, which I'll link to down below. It's at gauntlet-rpg.com. We do a lot of online gaming. We have some podcasts. We have a monthly magazine with sort of all sorts of gaming stuff in it. And said once a year we have GauntletCon, which is an online gaming convention. So we sort of get together for a couple of days and play a lot of games online. With all that said, I'm going to ask my players to introduce themselves, and then I'll explain a little bit more about what we're going to be doing today, and then we'll introduce their characters and start building up the world we'll be playing in. As I said, my name is David. I'm based here in the UK, and I use he, him pronouns. And I'm just going to go through the old fallback of character keeper order. So, Blake, if I can ask you to introduce yourself, please.
G'day, I'm Blake, he, him, over here in Australia, staying up late for some good old PBTA gaming.
Brilliant, thank you very much. And Alan.
My name is Alan. I'm also in the UK, only about 60 miles north of where David is. And I've been playing with the Gauntlet since last year's GauntletCon.
Brilliant, thank you, Alan. In fact, the game we'll be playing today is set in your neck of the woods, which actually I'm not very familiar with. So you can correct me on any egregious mistakes I make. Finally, but not least, Bethany, if you'd like to introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Bethany. I use they, them pronouns. I'm from the US, as you can probably tell from my accent, and I got up early to play this game.
Yeah, we've got quite a good spread of time zones here today, so that's always fun. It makes it fun when I say things like good afternoon and tell you what time we'll be taking breaks to and stuff, but we'll figure it out. As I say, this we'll be playing just a one-shot game today. The game will be set in a small fictional market town up on the Yorkshire Moors. The town is called Hades. There are actually two real towns called Hades in North Yorkshire. This is not one of them, but I couldn't resist the name. The year is 1968. The world in general and Britain in particular is changing a lot. We're in the dying gasps of the British Empire. The economic status of the country is changing, and the sort of youth culture is really starting to blossom in a way that it did slightly earlier in the US. The pack that we will be dealing with today are all younger members of the community, sort of thinking like late teens, early 20s, that sort of thing, and have been passed the torch by their elders to continue running this pack to protect the town against the strange threats that may befall it from its environs. We will, in a moment, get into some stuff detailing more information about the pack itself. We'll be setting up some of their traditions, some of their customs, and things like that. But first, I'll ask people to just give a very brief introduction to the characters I'll be playing this afternoon. And so once again, I'll go through in character keeper order. I'll get you all to introduce your characters, and then your characters will have a packmate question down towards the bottom of the character sheet, which we'll ask, and we'll use that to sort of determine some links between all of you, or some more specific links rather than just the fact that you're all in the same pack. So yeah, once again, I'll start with you, Blake, if that's okay.
Okay. Okay, so I'm playing Mal. Him. He's an alpha, not the pack alpha. Looks suspiciously like a young Robert Redford. And you want me to do a question? Okay.
We can come back to that once the others have introduced their characters, so we can kind of get a bit more of a detail on them. But yeah, no, that's cool. So yeah, Alan, if you'd like to introduce.
Yeah, I'm playing Michael Townsend, goes by the name of Pete, and he's the fixer of the group, and yeah, you know, he's obsessed with the Who. He went to see them play in Sheffield back in February, and is rarely seen outside his green mod anorak ever since. And recently he scraped together enough money to buy a Vespa moped. So he thinks he's the coolest guy in Hades. He's certainly the only mod in Hades.
Brilliant, thank you, Alan. And finally, Bethany, if you'd like to introduce your character.
Yes, my character's name is Jim Ward. He is the Prodigal. He left. He like grew up here. He was with the pack for a while, and then moved to London, and has recently come back. And just is not real sure, like whether he still has a place here, and whether he even wants it.
Cool, thank you very much. Brilliant. So we'll just get into asking a pack questions. Actually, the one thing I will do quickly before, hopefully it won't come up in just while we're doing these questions, but it's always good to be on the safe side. We will be running with a couple of safety tools today, just to ensure we're all comfortable with where we're going. Because of the nature of this game, it can deal with both violence, it can deal with sexuality, it can also deal with a lot of kind of relationship interactions that can skew towards the sort of the toxic or abusive, as werewolves tend to be quite direct and domineering with one another. So in order to make sure that we're kind of all comfortable with that, we'll be using a couple of safety tools we can use to regulate how things go. We have had a discussion before this began about some of our lines and veils. These are essentially things that we won't. Lines are things that we won't bring up at all in the game. Veils are things that we won't sort of go into detail on. They may happen, but we'll just kind of allude to them. They'll happen off screen, that sort of thing. So the that's where the our lines and veils are, and we have as well, we'll be using the X card as our sort of standby, which is a tool. Sorry, I'm vaguely distracted. We had one of our players isn't here, but has just messaged me, so I'm just going to very briefly message them back and let them know that if they want to join in still, they can. Cool. Anyway, sorry about that. So yes, we will be using the X card, which basically is just a quick tool to sort of break if things get to a point you're not happy with. So if there's something you don't want to see in the game, or something comes up and you don't want to see it and don't want to go any further with it, you can either throw up sort of an X sign with your hands. You can just say I'd like to X card that, or you can put an X in the chat. Anything that basically just alerts our attention that you want to X card something. If something is X carded, I may need to ask you to clarify the specifics of what it is that's being X carded. If it's not like blatantly obvious, then but I won't ask you to kind of justify why you're X carding something. The fact that you are is enough for us to just take that out, because everyone here is enjoyment of the game is more important than the game itself. So don't feel don't feel you have to sort of explain yourself. That's fine. Likewise, if anything you introduce into the game gets carded by someone else, don't take that as a personal a personal thing. Everyone's comfortable with different things in their gaming and stuff, and we don't always know what's going to kind of hit us wrong on any given day. So just we'll just move past it. The other tools we'll be using are a bit more nuanced. They are it's the script change tool by Bo Sheldon. I have linked to that below. Sorry, linked to. I'm losing my train of thought. I've put the PDF of that in the shared folder if you do want to check in on that. But it's essentially a series of like remote control commands that we'll use to sort of interact with the game, should it be necessary. Pause is both the most simple and the most useful, I think, of all the tools. At any point, you could just call a pause, and that will let us know to just take a brief step back from the game. We might have a bit of out of character chat about what's happening in the scene. You might sort of say, oh, actually, it looks like the scene might be going in this direction. I'd rather we didn't. Can we look to do something else with it? Whatever else you want to do, we can just use that space for conversation. It might be that the doorbell's, you're in the middle of doing something and the doorbell's just rung and you've got to go and answer it. So, that's fine. Or it may just be that like a scene's getting quite intense and you're happy to continue with it, but you just want a couple of moments just to like, recenter yourself, sort of thing, and before we carry on. That's also cool. Rewind can be used if something has happened and you want to change it and find a different way forward. So that again might be because something's come up you're not happy with, or it might just be something as simple as, oh, the way I phrased that didn't quite make sense. I want to sort of go back and, hey Sarah.
Hi. Sorry.
No,
I was asleep.
That's not a problem at all. That's not a problem. I'm just we've only done. I've only just been doing the initial intro spiel. I'm just going over safety tools at the minute. So I've said we've set up some lines and veils in the character keeper. If you want to add anything to that, obviously you feel free to do that. And as I said, same to anyone else. If there's anything you want to add as we go forward, then absolutely feel free to do so. That's well within your rights. We'll be using the X card sort of as ever. I'm also using script change. So I've just introduced the pause command, rewind. So fast forward is then used if sort of something. It's either if there's like, okay, I don't really want this to go into a blow by blow discussion of how we beat this guy up. Can we just say he's beaten up and move on? Or it might be this scene kind of feels like it's just going around in circles a bit. Can we just get to the point where something actually happens and push forward with it? That's where we'd use fast forward. Then there is also frame by frame, which is basically just can we just take this scene a bit slower? It might be something we know is going to potentially maybe be a bit delicate to deal with, and it just lets us know to sort of take things a bit more slowly, to check in with each other frequently to make sure everyone's comfortable. There's also a resume command, which basically just says, is go back to normal. But to be honest, we tend to just do that. I tend to just do that through like natural language rather than specific command. There's also the instant replay, which can be used if basically at the end of a scene, if there's a thing, it might just be like, oh, I really liked what you did there, that was cool, or oh, can we clarify exactly what happened at the end of that scene? I think that you now have the key. Is that right? Things like that. But as I said, it's I find pause, rewind, fast forward, and frame by frame are probably the most useful ones for kind of safety purposes, certainly. Cool. So I'll just check back in with you now, Sarah. Sorry. The as I said, I think people have chosen playbooks already. The one currently available is the Cub. If you're happy playing that, if not, we can maybe look to switch things around a bit, or can bring in a new one.
That is totally fine, but I'm not seeing any links in this email
Oh,
that you sent.
no worries. I'll send you the links to those now, just in the chat. So here's the character keeper link, and I'll send you a link as well, just to the kind of the overall shared folder that just has has the sort of play materials in it. Cool. We were just doing everyone had just introduced their characters, and we now have their sort of playbook questions to go through. What I will do is I'll give you a minute to just have a quick look over the character. So there shouldn't really be many choices you need to make at this moment, except to give them a name and that sort of thing. The one thing I will explain to you as well, because that is the one thing I think mechanically that you need to choose, is you'll see that there's a section that's called heartbeats towards the top of the playbook. You should have 2 of those selected already. You can select a third of your own choice. They are essentially, they're kind of they're a bit like keys in Lady Blackbird or something like that. They're basically a guide for how the character acts, and if you hit one of those in a scene, you get to mark a point of experience, basically. So you can choose one of those. I will give you a moment to look through that and ask any questions that you want to do.
Okay, I think I'm good.
Cool. While you're doing that, I think we will go back to Blake, and if we'll go through the. So as I was saying, all the characters have a packmate question down at the very bottom of the screen, we'll go through those, and we'll use these to sort of determine a bit of our starting disposition for the pack, and what's going on in the world. So Blake, if you'd like to ask or read through your question, and then we'll see what we think.
Okay, who did you banish from the pack, and what reason did you give? Which pack may resent you for it? So it could be like an NPC.
Yeah, the banishment is probably an actual NPC because they are actually banished and no longer welcome. So yeah, that one would probably be an NPC.
Could it be like Pete's sister? The reason is, I don't know, maybe she was friends with another pack, but like the real reason is we had a bad breakup.
Yeah, that's cool. Is that cool for you, Alan?
He's a bastard.
Cool. So
Who put him in fucking charge?
You did when you said you didn't want the playbook.
So just so I understand, it then says they take 1+1 tie on you. So next to Mal, I'd mark one of those boxes for ties, yeah?
That's correct. Yep, that's correct. So yeah, you banished Pete's sister. Pete, what's your sister's name?
Mary.
So what's the name of this other pack that she used to hang around with, and sort of what's their deal?
You're muted.
I don't know. I mean, is it like Dark Paw, or you want like a band name or something, or what are you looking for?
Yeah, whatever you want, whatever you want to give them. I think, yeah.
Maybe I don't know, Talon on Sea or something.
Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah, and they're probably over by the coast somewhere. Yeah. Brilliant. Cool. I think that's cool for that for now. We'll might revisit some of the bits and pieces in that in a moment. Pete, what is your question?
Why do you feel you want to leave the pack? And which pack mate could get you to stay, and why? I'm thinking that Jim and I went to primary school together. Then he got into the posh school, and went on to success in some Ponce Southern University. And I think as a teenager, I had unresolved feelings for Jim. And so if he went south and asked me to go with him, because I think I can make it as a guitarist in a band, obviously. So I think probably I feel I want to get away because I might be able to express my feelings for Jim outside the town. I certainly can't do it here.
Mm.
Does that work for Jim?
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
So Jim takes, or Four Eyes as I tend to call him, because I've just seen the picture.
Yeah.
Takes a tie on me.
Cool. Yeah, no, that's good. And yeah, presumably, the sort of follow-up question to that, to which why they could get you to stay is essentially, if Jim stays, then you'd probably stay with him. But if
Shall I stay or shall I go now?
Exactly. Perfect. And obviously these feelings may become more complicated as we play, but those are good starting points. So brings us round to Jim, and Oh, actually, no. What I will do now, briefly, because we've got, I will ask Sarah if you'd like to just briefly introduce your character, and then I'll go back to Jim for their question.
Sure. So, playing Josie, she is quite young. I think maybe 15 max. And she's also new to the pack. Did the alpha turn all of us, or is that something we could have been turned in some other city and then
That's
stumbled
probably
here?
either of those is possible. We might have a bit more of a discussion about the. Well, no, actually, I'll ask now, to the table. How do you think? How do you think you will be? How do you think you have become werewolves? Is it the is it you've all been infected, or is it like a bloodline thing, or something more mystical even maybe? What do you like the idea of?
Personally, I quite like Grandfather Townsend. It's always been in the family, lad.
Yep. No, that's cool.
It sounds like based on the backgrounds that at least some of us have been werewolves since we were children.
Yep, that's right. That's definitely a thing. So yeah, I think, but like I said, I think also there is definitely a scope. There is definitely scope for people being transformed into werewolves as well. I think if you think maybe yeah, so if you think maybe if you would like Josie to have maybe been made a werewolf by someone else, and be sort of coming to terms with it, I think that would be cool as well.
I feel like that's probably the only reason she would have left whatever family she had at such a young age.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I like that. Awesome.
Just point of interest, 1968 is before the raising of the school leaving age, so she could have left school by now and be out there in the world.
Oh, okay. If that's true, then let's do that, because that's a bit kinder.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah, perfect. So yeah, now I will hop back to Jim, and if you would like to read through the question you have on for your pack mates.
Sure. Yeah. Which packmate did it hurt you the most to leave behind? How do they feel about your return? And they take a +1 tie on you. Sounds like it was probably Pete. If we were friends before and then I left, we probably kind of kept in touch a little bit. I was probably sorry to leave him behind. And well, I guess we've already got how he feels about my return.
Yeah, that makes sense. Excellent. So yeah, Jim will take a reciprocal tie back on you, and then finally, Josie, if you'd like to ask your question or resolve your question.
Which packmate do you hero worship? What could they do to break that trust? They take a +1 tie on you. It's got to be Mal, right?
Yeah.
Jim and Pete seem like they're kind of preoccupied with each other now. And Mal's the alpha.
Cool. And yeah, what could Mal do to break your trust?
See, you exiled somebody, and I think that was maybe right when Josie came into the pack, so she didn't really know the history or what was like going on there. I think if you did it again to one of the people that she has come to care about, or to her, obviously, that would do it. Or like, yeah, yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, I think that Mal will get a tie on Josie. Awesome. So I'll just explain ties very briefly. They work a little bit like strings in Monster Hearts. Not quite. They're not quite as versatile as strings in Monster Hearts, but you can essentially spend up to three ties on somebody to add up to a +3 to a roll that targets them specifically. Some specific moves might also reference ties that you have on people. But that's sort of the primary use for them. Some moves can give you extra ties on them during play. If your ties would ever go above 3, you gain a point of experience, and your ties reset. Your tie with that character resets back down to 1 again. So yeah, that's how ties work essentially. I think that's probably everything we need for the characters for right now. So we are just past the hour. Are people okay if we carry on and do the pack details next? Or do people want to take a break now? Cool. In which case, yeah, we'll go through the pack stuff on the pack briefly. Probably takes about 10-15 minutes, and then we'll take a break after that, and then we'll get into play. So we'll move over onto the pack tab in the character keeper. So what we're going to do here, you'll see there's a couple of different like vague columns here. We've got one for pack culture and one for pack traditions. There's also some pack moves on the far right, which we'll touch on in a little bit. So the things that we will be doing, we'll do the culture first. What we want to do here is we'll go around and come up with a few bits and pieces here. What we want to do is establish 5 words of shared slang for the group. These are terms that you use amongst yourselves to communicate things that are specific to your pack, or to keep things hidden from the regular humans in the town, that sort of thing. And we will also we'll also look at some like just cultural traditions that your pack has, which are next down under. You'll see there's some sort of examples down there. You don't have to do those exactly; those are just there purely as examples, but you can also use them if you want to when it sort of comes around to your turn. So we'll go around and do a couple of rounds around that to give. We'll go for, like I said, we'll look for about 5 words of shared slang and like 3 or 4 like things that you do. So the examples are here, things like taboos, food rituals, dress codes, or some specific behaviors like talking about like looking at the floor when the alpha's talking to you, or just general physical closeness within the pack, all these sort of things. So the idea here is we just kind of get a feeling for how you are around each other and how the pack is. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning before Sarah was here, but the way this works is if you sort of use some of the shared slang or express some of the cultural behaviors in a scene, you get to mark XP at the end of that scene. So it's in there as a little incentive to kind of build up this idea of tradition and community between you all. So that's enough jabbering from me, and I will. And I'll tell you what, I will go around in reverse order this time. So I will start with Sarah. If there is, is there a cultural tradition you'd like to see, or a cultural expression or a piece of slang you'd like to introduce to the pack?
Do we have like a kind of role in this community at all, or are we very much on its outskirts?
The setup that I had in mind is that you're kind of, the pack has existed for some time, for as in probably no one really knows exactly when it originated, but many generations ago. And I think you are self-appointed guardians of the town, but your knowledge, the knowledge of your existence in the town isn't public. The town may be aware that there is this, like, there's always been this kind of like little secret society of people, maybe, that there are rumors about, but it's not like the town's in trouble, quick, call the werewolves. It's yeah.
Can I just confirm, do we have like hybrid and animal form, or just animal form? Or?
Just animal form. So you can be either a human or a wolf. In human form, you can sort of draw on some of your like wolfy powers, but you don't get the sort of like wolfman, bipedal form. Yeah. Or if someone else wants to chime in. Sorry, I don't want to put too much pressure on any one person for this. So if anyone has an idea of something they want to,
I think the locals we call commons.
cool. Yeah, no, I like that. Yeah, does anyone else want to add either? Like I said, you can either go for a piece of slang or a like I said, a kind of cultural expression, whichever you feel like.
I was going to say, can a taboo be we don't eat people?
Yeah, that's a good solid taboo right there. I'll mark that down on this. And I'm going to kind of expand on that a little bit, actually, to kind of give a kind of a cultural expression to that, as well as just the taboo itself. Because we might also add that as a tradition, which we'll get into in a second. But I think that there's maybe I think maybe like after you've been, if you've basically had to be in a fight where you fight against people, there's kind of a tradition of like making of like washing out your mouth and probably even like communally like washing each other as a kind of purification ritual, almost after you've to kind of dispel any suspicion that you might have eaten people, sort of thing. Yeah. No, I like that. Thank you.
I think some of the other packs don't have that taboo. And that's part of why they are so, like, why it's such a bad thing to be running with another pack, because like, and if you ever come back after running with another pack, you have to like prove somehow that you have never eaten a person.
Cool. I like that. I like that. Cool. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
It's on the list, but I really do like everyone waits for the alpha to eat first.
Yep. No, that's cool. Yeah, that's what the suggestions on the list are for. I'm going to like move that one down so it's kind of separated from the others. But yeah, that's cool.
And are we like full moon only kind of werewolves, or?
Probably not. They're so essentially the way it works is you can sort of always choose to turn into your wolf form. There is also a specific move that you can use to essentially be more powerful when you're in your wolf form. That's actually a rolled move that can have negative consequences if you fail it, sort of thing. But yeah, it's probably by default. No, it's possible that like the phases of the moon might affect you, and that like maybe it might be, for instance, that we decide that maybe when it is full moon, you might have to make a roll to like control yourself and not turn into a wolf or something like that. But we can kind of explore that. But I feel like they're definitely. I feel like that there's if you want to kind of create like some sort of full moon tradition, that would be fitting. I think actually I'm going to add a I'm going to add a term. Yeah, again to kind of tie, because this seems to be a fairly so I think the term for other wolves who do eat human flesh, they're referred to as jackals, and calling, certainly within your community, calling one of your pack mates or whatever a jackal is a fairly strong insult.
Shouldn't it be foxes, because there's no jackals in England, so that word's going to stick out more if we're chatting at the pub, sort of thing.
Yeah, I quite like. I think it's quite a. I think it's possibly. Yeah, it's that one is possibly less more a covert word, more just a. Yeah. Yeah, lost my train of thought, but yeah. So I think that's probably. I quite like it. It's got quite a nice feel, I think, for being used as an insult. So yeah. Cool.
I mean, foxes could actually be another slang word. Maybe maybe that's like a werewolf without a pack, because foxes aren't pack animals.
Yeah, that's cool.
And they're also like smaller and weaker than wolves, so like they're viewed as kind of helpless.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yep, good.
If I like this use of animal terms, so I think we should call the townies not commons but rabbits.
Sure thing. Yep, that's good. I like that.
How do people feel about a taboo of not wearing red? Because red is like red meat. So it's like, don't dress as food.
That's going to be a problem for Pete because as a mod, he has to have an RAF roundel on his anorak.
No worries, just an idea.
Cool. Oop. Brilliant. So I just moved that up. I think I went into the wrong. Cool.
Do we run and hunt as a pack? Or because the implication will be if we don't, we do that separately.
Given these words we have for like making sure we don't eat human flesh and we don't hunt or we don't operate on our own, I like the idea of doing it as a pack.
Keep each other honest.
Huh.
Yeah, because in human form we can do stuff separately, but when we're wolves, we hunt and move as a pack.
Yeah, that sounds good. I like that.
I kind of like the idea too. Is maybe another tradition that like we have like one human meal a day together.
Yeah, that's cool. As to kind of reinforce like both sides of the to reinforce like the idea of civilization as well as
Just
yeah,
community.
the wolf side. Yeah, exactly. Cool. I think that's probably enough to get us going with on the culture side. So we'll switch over onto the traditions. Now I have kind of put a couple in here already, but we can play about with these as you see fit. These were just the initial ideas I had to send to this. But in the pack traditions, we have some oral laws essentially. These, unlike, so I mean, we obviously have like the taboo on not eating human flesh, but these pack traditions are specific like laws that you have to follow, and breaking them has consequences. If you break one of these, you should expect to be disciplined by the alpha, and or the rest of the pack in general. So the ones I have put down at the minute are to protect Hades from the darkness on the moors, to harm no townsfolk, and to hold the beast in check. But if you think there are any that would be more appropriate than those for what you see yourselves doing, feel free to add them. Or if there's any other ones that you think would be useful to add as well, then feel free to do so.
I think if we're allowing, you can turn people by infection as well as natural born, maybe we don't create another werewolf without discussing it with the pack first.
Yep, certainly.
Like it's a thing that we do, but it has to be discussed and approved first. You can't just independently go out there and start creating new werewolves.
Presumably,
in fact, I think you have to get the office permission.
Yeah. Cool. So I've just put no one turns to human without the consent of the pack.
And I think that kind of goes along with the whole never hunt alone, and like as just rules to control our relationship with like the humans.
Yep, sure thing.
To keep us from to keep them from deciding that we're more dangerous than we're worth.
Yep. The one actually I will because I didn't put it on here, and I will check if it's something you think you should be on here. currently there isn't a law to mandate secrecy. Are you all cool with that? Do you think it's more that it's not that being secretive about your nature is a law held down by the pack? It's more just a sensible thing to do. Is that somewhere you're comfortable with being? The idea that maybe the odd person might know that there's a bit more going on.
I given that that Pete isn't comfortable revealing his feelings for Jim, I can't imagine what the locals would do if they discovered they had a pack of werewolves on the patch.
Yeah.
I think secrecy is we don't share the word, lad.
Yep, sure thing.
Or that's my, I'll put that on the table.
No, I'm fine with that. It's not like, you get your head chopped off or something, but you do get reprimanded if you break the secrecy.
Yeah, I think at least some of the humans do know, but it's we're not supposed to be just like going and turning into wolves in front of people and revealing ourselves deliberately or accidentally to just random people around.
Yeah. Cool. Right, and now the last thing, and then we'll take our first break. Is related to these laws that we've just set up, because I am going to ask you. Firstly, which NPC was banished from the pack for violating a tradition, and what happened? And again, this is sort of open for.
So this is separate from the one I banished Pete's sister. This is a different NPC.
I would say, given what we know of her banishment, yes, this is probably a separate one, because it doesn't sound like she necessarily broke with one of the traditions. And this may even have been someone who was banished before before you took over as Pack Alpha, back in sort of your father's day or whatever. If you want.
I have an idea, but it may not be good. The guy, the one that turned me, he wasn't protecting Hades from whatever the darkness on the moor was. And when we found out, we banished him, and maybe he's gone off to that other pack. Maybe he's gone somewhere else, but
Cool.
That's an idea.
Yeah, I like that. So yeah,
like not only was he not protecting it, but he was like working with it somehow, whatever the darkness is.
That sounds good. Yeah, that sounds like an imminent threat. But maybe, yeah. No, I like that.
Yeah, like maybe not like actively, but allowing. He something happened that he was supposed to be like watching for, and he was not. Either because he was like bribed somehow to not, to turn a blind eye, or because he was just not, he was up getting drunk somewhere or something.
I like the idea of it being intentional, though. Like whatever it was, he did knowingly. Not just like not doing his job or like going off and being a werewolf.
Right. Yeah, so like they convinced him somehow, whatever the darkness is.
Cool. Yeah, so I'm going to just post to a couple of bits here, and I think we'll say.
I have an idea for the next question.
Cool. Yes. So yeah. Sorry, I will ask that while I'm typing this up. The next question is, which player character has secretly violated a tradition and what happened? Who knows? What has there been any action taken as a result? If more than one of you want to have secretly violated traditions, then by all means, feel free.
Oh, I'm just wondering which of us unilaterally turned Josie. Because that seems like a really obvious one.
Yeah, that's cool. Does who thinks they might have been responsible for turning Josie? If that's something you want to go with.
I kind of think it might be Jim, actually.
Oh, I was
That
thinking
could
it'd
be
be
why I'm
Mal,
back.
because you're the one I'm idolizing here.
Oh, it could be too.
Is it possible that Mal decided that what he decides is what the pack would have decided if he bothered to ask them?
Jeez, I'm a bastard.
Just saying.
That is awful, and I personally am here for it.
I mean, I can do it if you want. I thought it might be Jim, because that kind of ties Jim into the web more, but
I mean,
Or maybe
go ahead.
I wonder. And like this would maybe depend on Mal's and Jim's relationship, but if Jim is the one who actually did it, but Mal like said he did it to cover.
Or like said later that, I proved it. I'm the alpha. I can do.
It's fine.
Yeah. I'm kind of wondering if maybe I did it and that's why I'm back. Like I did it and it was a mistake and I feel bad about it and I'm at least going to stick around until Josie finds her, figures out how to be a werewolf to minimize the damage here.
Oh, that's very True Blood. I like that.
Yeah, and that might also explain why you've technically been allowed to slide on it, because technically speaking, when you turned her, you hadn't yet returned to the pack. So you've kind of got one of those very, very technically you haven't broken our laws. However,
yeah. Oops, I turned this kid that I ran into me while I was a wolf in the dark, and oh shit! Now, well, at least I know a pack that will kind of take her in. Let's go see my old pack.
And that further complicates Pete's relationship with Jim, because he thinks that Jim has brought his girlfriend back.
Right, because Jim can't say, "Oh, I accidentally turned this kid."
How old is Jim? Because Josie is very young.
I'm thinking like, let's see. He's been to the university, but we don't know that like he finished and left. He may have just dropped out.
Gotcha.
So
that's like
20,
just
maybe.
barely on the edge of sideways looks.
Yeah. Like it's not quite creepy, but it's getting there. Or would be if it were true.
Oh no, it's creepy.
How old is Josie again?
Like 15.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's creepy. I was thinking she was a little older than that, but yeah, that's okay.
We can age her up.
So no, I kind of like that.
17?
Like Jim is conflicted of like, oh well, would I rather they think I'm creepy or would I rather they think that I broke this rule?
That's cool. No, I like that. That's good. And yes, actually, this does also bring me back. I realize we have one final question to ask, and it's back to Jim, I'm afraid, because your healing move requires that. So I'll just. It's at the top of the healing move, but it says, wolves can't exactly go to the hospital, so you're the trained medic of the pack. You can keep a cool head, stitch a wound, and save a life. But someone died while you were away from the pack, and someone hasn't forgiven you for that. Choose who died and a packmate to take +1 tie on you for your guilt.
Okay, let's see. Well, this has got to be someone that. Who? Okay, this is probably someone that Mal was close to.
Yeah, like, it was my brother.
Yeah.
We both got infected by the same guy. He was struggling.
Oh yeah.
My brother was struggling with the whole double life thing, and yeah, he got wounded, and you couldn't help him.
Yeah, I like that. Died while you were away. Yep.
So yes, Mal will gain 1 tie on you.
Okay.
Yep. Yep, cool. Perfect. Right, I think that's probably enough for us to be getting on with. I might, when we get back, I might ask, when we sort of set up initial scenes and like, I might ask for sort of a, we might bring in a couple of NPC members of the pack, but we might not. We'll see how we go, because of the time we've got the number of players. We probably aren't going to need a huge number of NPCs for you to interact with, and within the pack itself. But we'll play that by ear, I think. So yeah, I think if we take a 10-minute break now and come back at 1:45. And we'll start getting some action going. Thank you very much, everyone. Perfect. Yeah, so thanks, everyone. Right, yeah, so a couple of points I will go over before we get started. I'll mostly introduce like the rules as they come up in play. In general, the mechanics for bite marks are quite straightforward. I'd say if you're familiar with other PBTA games, which I think everyone here is. Do correct me if I'm wrong there, sorry, but I'm making assumptions. I know certainly that I've played PBTA games for at least a couple of years there. So yeah, most of them would follow the standard thing of they just kind of trigger when they come up. There are a couple that I want to call out specific attention to, though, because they are both slightly different to the standard, and also it's I think they're both really good, and then they're the big part of what I like about this game. So there is a move called Spill, so which I will just read through briefly. Werewolves' feelings and emotions are much closer to the surface than humans, and the close nature of the pack means you express them more readily. When you openly and truthfully express one of the following, either your desire for a packmate, why you are hurting, what you are angry about, or what you are afraid of, you add 1 to the pack pool, which is another concept I'll introduce in a second, and give your packmate +1 tie on you as they've seen you raw and vulnerable. That can also be used on NPC packmates. Doesn't just have to be on PCs, that one, though the ties are irrelevant for NPC packmates. And secondly, there's a kind of counterpoint move to Spill, which is called Provoke Spill, which is when you do something to provoke a packmate to reveal how they really feel, you roll +heart. On a 10 up, they have to make the Spill move. On a 7 to 9, they have to make the Spill move, and you choose either to spill as well, or you give them the option to lie in their response, but then you don't get the pack pool. So those two are basically there to get a lot of like interpersonal stuff going on, and I think they're quite cool. But I think it's worth pointing those out before we begin, because they are a bit more reliant on you actively going out for your way to do those things, whereas most of the other moves will just come up naturally in the course of play. The pack pool is, you'll see on the pack tab, there is a a list. There's basically a track for totaling up how many points of pool you have. This can be used to, you can spend this on a number of different actions with varying costs that you'll see down the side there. The specific thing to be aware of with those is that you can only use those pack moves when there are at least 2 of you working together, and you have to be following either the alpha's express orders or doing a thing that the alpha would want you to do. And also you have to be acting in accordance with the traditions, so you can't use it if you're doing an action that would break one of the traditions. And that's pack. So essentially there's a few things there that essentially, when you get to high levels of pack pool, and then allow you to kind of obliterate the opposition in various ways and do some cool stuff. So it's just worth keeping that in mind. It's a good thing to keep spilling to each other to build up that pack pool. It's one of the main sources of pack pool, as well as a couple of other moves. So that's just to make you aware of that, so you know about it going in. The other thing I wanted to check in is I have, and I think what I will probably do is start off with a scene where you are all together. I have an idea for that, but if there is any scene that anyone would like to cover at the beginning, and wants to make a suggestion, I am open to that.
I'd quite
Well,
like.
I've got this. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say I'd quite like a scene with Jim, but I know that that our alpha has a session start.
Yep. No, exactly. We'll roll the alpha session start move first. So yeah, my thought was that I was thinking that what we might start out with the scene of the pack going out on the hunt. Maybe it's the full moon or some other, or maybe it's just a Friday night or whatever. But I think maybe that would be an interesting scene to start us off with. But yeah, the first thing we will do is if Mal, you would like to roll State of the Pack and see how things are going for you.
So it's plus hard. So 2. Uh, 11.
11, excellent. So yeah, on a 10 up, you are in good control of the pack at the moment. For the rest of this session, every packmate gets a -1 on rolls to disobey your orders. So we'll touch on those when they come up, but essentially there's a move that's called disobey, which you have to roll if you are doing something that is against the express orders of the alpha, that would break the traditions, or that break something else that someone has ordered you to do if they've succeeded at a roll. So it's to represent you kind of the inherent hierarchical nature of the pack.
Can I just clarify, when you say hunt, you're including patrolling your territory, not just we're getting food?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, it said, I will hand the scene over to you, but that was sort of the image I had in my mind was that maybe you're all gathered outside. You're all gathered outside the village. Darkness has fallen. There is, I think we'll say that there's a full moon out. It's about this time of year. It's in the towards the end of October. It's cold and breezy up on the moors. There's probably some. I suppose the fog might be kind of starting to fade as the sun's gone down, but it's definitely kind of clammy and wet and dark, other than the moon and starlight. And I think I will allow you to all make your entrances to the scene. So who will have been the first to arrive at this As I say, I think it's essentially it's like an old. I'm going to say that there's this old abandoned, I say abandoned, semi-derelict kind of stone. Not as big as a barn, but just like a sort of shelter for sheep in this field. It's got sort of the dry stone walls on the rolling hillside. But yeah, who's the first to arrive for the hunt?
I kind of think it's
Me.
not me because they have to wait for me to eat, so I'm usually not the first person there.
Yep, sure thing.
I'm too cool to
It'd be
be
me.
first.
So is that Sarah? Is that you? Said you? It might be you, or it might be Josie.
Yeah, I think just because like she's overeager.
Yeah. So how does Josie look when we see her arrive here?
She's wearing like a waxed raincoat sort of deal. Under that's like jeans and a t-shirt or whatever. Or like shoes that aren't quite waterproof enough for the moors. And yeah, I think she gets to this area and like sits inside the stone wall and just like puts her head back and like looks up at the clouds, just like seeing if she can see any stars.
You're muted, David.
Muted again. Yep.
Muted.
So yeah, I think what I'm going to ask here actually. Would you say that you are you kind of drawing on your supernatural senses here to kind of as you're gazing up at the stars, or is this just more of a relaxed, you're just waiting?
Sure. Let's draw on the supernatural nature.
Yeah. So this will be Harness the Wolf, which is rolled with feral, despite what it says on the on the sheet there at the top. So yeah, if you could roll me 2 dice with plus feral, please, and we'll see how this goes.
That is a total of 6.
Ooh. So I think you're like sort of sitting back looking up, and the clouds sort of part to reveal the moon, and it's hanging low in the sky tonight. It's heavy, it's full, and it's one of those, you've kind of got that harvest moon thing going on. There's almost like a reddish sheen to the moon over the moors, and that's all you see for now. Nothing other than that seems to be out of the ordinary.
I think though that's like the way that the clouds had been covering up everything, and then there's the moon, like big and full. I think it just like catches her.
Mm.
She just kind of stops and stares at it. There's like this moment where we can see kind of the face of the moon, and it looks like it's looking back at her.
Yeah, that sounds good. I like it. And who is next to arrive?
It's probably me because I've been trying to keep an eye on Josie. So maybe I'm like there, kind of. I'm I don't care if she sees me once I get there, but I've been like following her at a long distance, because I don't want her to like know that I'm, constantly, looking out for her. But I still kind of am.
You probably see then just like the shape of her like sit down at like a very far distance behind that wall, and then just like as you approach, just like the top of her head, and she doesn't look like she's heard you or standing up, turning around.
Oh yeah, so I go up and like kind of lean against the wall and just say out of the blue, don't let the moon fill all your vision. You can't, if you look at it this time, you won't be able to see anything else.
And she doesn't start, but she turns and looks at you and smiles and says, but look at it. It feels like it's everywhere. And then like kind of clambers up onto the wall next to you.
Yeah, it does. It's I don't know. The stuff they say about wolves only changing in the full moon's wrong, but it's not that wrong.
Yeah, because it feels different tonight, and then other months when we met like this, it's, I don't know, it makes you feel more alive, doesn't it?
Yeah,
and that's good, right?
Yeah, it always does. It's good and bad. Just don't let it take over. That's all.
Okay.
It's fine to enjoy
question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much wolf do you feel right now? Because I'm like maybe a 7 or an 8.
I'm 6 maybe. Yeah. I've had more practice. It's
You're talking like you're.
I've had more practice holding it back.
And what if sometimes you don't want to? What then? I mean, I know we've got like rules and stuff.
Last time. Yeah, well, last time I turned you into a wolf, so forgive me if I'm a little bit careful now.
Oh, do I need to roll to make or encourage somebody to
I think so, yeah. This definitely feels like we're getting into that territory. So if you'd like to roll with heart, please.
That is flat. No, it's +2. So that is a 15.
Nice. So on a 10 up on spill, on provoke spill, I should say, it's quite simply Bethany will have to make the spill roll. You do still get to choose what you spill about. You don't have to necessarily answer the question that's being asked directly, but you do have to choose one of those options under spill, which again I will just remind again for the sake of recording, if nothing else, that this is either your desire for a pack mate, why you are hurting, what you are angry about, or what you are afraid of, and you do have to answer that truthfully. Truthfully as far as your character's concerned anyway.
Okay. All right, so what am I rolling with for spill?
Oh no, so it's not a roll. You just have to.
It's not a roll. It's a move.
And there
Okay.
are effects for that happening. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. That's too bad because I rolled a 10, so I was like, "Hey, that's wait. What's that actually do? Nothing. That's what it does." Cool. Okay, so Well, I mean, yeah, what I'm afraid of. Last time I lost control, I was so careful. I went out of the city. I went out to where I didn't think I was going to run into anybody at night, and just turned into a wolf, and thought I could relax and just wolf out completely. And then this girl randomly in the dark surprised me and startled me, and I turned around and bit her. And
Oh, that was me.
that was you, yeah. And I wasn't supposed to do that. I never intended to do that.
I don't. It's okay. You don't feel bad. Because if you hadn't done it, then I wouldn't be here right now.
Are you glad to be here? You don't miss your family or anything?
I mean, yeah, but I've got this other family.
That's good.
I think I might actually ask for a provoke spill from Bethany there as well.
Okay.
In fact, I'll let you keep the 10 you just rolled and modify that by your heart, please.
Heart. I believe my heart is that a 0? Oh, it's a -1, so it's a 9.
Okay, so on a so I'll just go. So sorry, I'll give you the results. So for you, for the spill that you have just done, Bethany, you add +1 to the pack pool, and Josie takes +1 tie on Jim. That's what spill does essentially. There's never any variation with it. For a 9 on provoke spill, Josie will have to spill, but the you then have 2 options here. When they spill, either you once they have spilled, you have to spill back again, as if they'd rolled a 10+, basically, or they can opt to omit an aspect of the truth in their spill response. But if they do, then you don't get the pack pool from them spilling. If they don't omit anything, then you still do. But yeah, so those are the 2 options.
Okay, so if she omits something, I like that's it.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, which of those are you going to choose?
Well, let's see.
Oh, sorry, I think it's
spilled.
Yeah.
Hmm?
So I think that's Jim chooses which one of those are available. And
okay.
Yeah.
I
So
thought it was her choice.
no, so I think it's I'll just double check. Actually, I might have misread that. Sorry. Yes. Yeah, no, that's the person making the provoke spill roll makes that choice. So basically, you get to choose whether they have to be 100% truthful, but you then have to spill in return, or you give them the opportunity to lie, or at least omit something. And if they do, then it kind of counteracts some of the effects of that spill.
Much as it goes over against every game playing instinct I have to not add to the pack pool, I think it's more interesting if she's allowed to lie here.
Sure. So yeah, Josie, if you would like to spill about again one of those 4 topics, and you can make an omission if you want. Just clarify it with us out of character at the end if you have made a deliberate omission or amendment to the truth. And then, as I say, if you don't, you add the pack pool anyway. But regardless of which you choose to do, Jim will take a tie on Josie.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with something she is afraid of. And I think she says, I mean, you guys are like lie. Mm, you guys are family, you know, and like I think like I liked like my mom and dad and stuff, but this feels like different, you know, and important. And but it feels like I keep hearing stories too about like people dying or being kicked out, and I don't know, I guess sometimes I just like I know it won't happen to any of us, but what if it does, you know?
I don't know. It could. We are like family, but we're like a really bad family sometimes.
Can I step out of the trees?
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds like a perfect moment for someone to make an appearance. So yeah.
And I'll just say, no one's leaving. I'll always protect you.
And
just
Jim too, because he can heal people.
Yeah, that's why they keep me around.
Not just that, obviously. Duh.
Well, it's the main reason. I think it's the main thing main thing I can do. So, where's Mal?
Are we done with all this fucking heart-to-heart then? He says as he stands up, having been hidden behind the wall opposite, listening to all of this.
Yes.
I thought we were here to hunt.
Best idea you've had all week, Pete. Let's go.
Do we all roll? Do we need to give in to the wolf when we actually transform willingly?
You do not need to. You can choose to. Basically, giving in to the wolf, it means that when you do turn, or if you have already turned, you become more powerful in that form. But it does come with a risk that you might lose control. So you're not required to. You can just turn into a wolf without rolling on that move, with the exception this evening of Josie, you can still feel that almost like that after image of the red moon burned into the back of your eye, and you will have to roll to give into the wolf when you transform tonight.
Pete would like to give into the wolf because he's pretty pissed off with the conversation he's just heard, which seems to reinforce to him that there's some intimacy between the two of them.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll go around each of you in turn, and I'll start with you, Alan. You've just said you're doing. Pardon. How does it look? Actually, no. We'll have you roll. Have you roll to give into the wolf first, and then you can describe how your sort of transformation, how your transformation looks, and.
Okay, so this is plus feral, which for Pete is +1. So let's reroll selected. Oh, that becomes a 12. So I choose 2 of the options. Reduce heart and guts by 2 of total. Increase teeth and feral by 2 total. I think that he's so pissed off that he's going to reduce heart by 2 to 0.
Yep.
And he's going to increase teeth from 0 to 2.
Excellent. And yeah, just make a note. When those changes will revert once you come out of your wolf form. But yes, for the time being, those will be in effect.
And the second option, I'm going to choose to add +2 to the pack pool, because typically we wait for Mal. But I think that what we see is in human form, he howls literally at this moon. And his eyes glint red, and he transforms, and is often. There's nothing in the traditions that means he can't do that first, but it's kind of not done. Yeah,
that sounds good.
So I'll add 2 to the pack.
Yep. Oh. Perfect. And I think we will see Mal next. How does Mal react to sort of Pete jumping the gun? Is he annoyed, or is this, does he see this as kind of showing good initiative?
No, I was going to tell him to take points to sort of run off his aggro anyway. So yeah, but I can't show that, so I'm going to pounce on him in a minute. I'll crouch down and then sort of go into wolf form. Sweet. That's a 4.
Okay. Excellent. So
I was intending to playfully pounce on him and keep running, sort of thing, but that may not.
Yeah, we may. We'll see exactly how this goes. I think for the time being. Again, I think there's the roar as Mal turns into wolf form and starts herring off after Pete, and then we will. Jim, Josie, which of you wishes to go next?
Josie's gonna wait until after Jim's gone.
Okay, so that would be me. I think I'll roll first and then. Okay, that's 8. So I think it takes a little while to like start transforming, and it looks painful. But then like once you get to about halfway, it's that it's like, oh, okay, I remember how to do this because I've resisted this for a long time, but now, okay, got it. The muscle memory is back, and then like all of a sudden, wolf. And I run off after.
Cool.
Okay, I look at these names wrong, backwards here. Pete is who I'm running after.
Yeah. Cool. And on the 7 to 9, you get to choose one from the list on given to the wolf as well. So you can switch around your stats if you want. You can do 1 extra harm with your bite and claws. You can gain 2 armor. You can add 2 to the pack pool. Or when you return from wolf form, you will heal 1 additional harm if you take any. You can choose one of those.
I'll add to the pack pool.
Yeah, that's not a bad choice at the moment, as you're not knowingly going into a danger. So yeah.
Yeah, I think like Josie, as everyone else, kind of runs off into the dark, like looks up at that moon again, and then begins to change. That is actually pretty good. This is plus feral.
Yep.
And that is a 10.
Nice. So once again, you get to choose 2 options from that list of the things I just read out. So either reduce your heart and guts by up to 2 to increase your teeth and feral by up to 2. Again, that is just for the duration of this change. You can add 1 harm when you with your biting claws. You can gain 2 armor. You can add 2 to the pack pool, or you can heal an additional harm when you return.
I'm going to add 2 to the pack pool and do the stat switch.
Yep, sure thing. So, yeah, this. So you will, as you are taking the lead, Pete, you can feel the rest of your pack running with you. You can smell their scent on the air. How does Mal smell to you, Pete?
Pissed off.
Is there like a particular scent
yeah,
to that?
I think he always dribbles urine when he's pissed off.
Yeah, that's sort of like that urge to sort of dominate and claim everything as his. Yeah, and
his territory.
Yeah, and he is racing up behind you, and he leaps for you, and as he barrels into you, his teeth go for you, and this is more than just a playful nip. That he is, whether he's like actually like 100% going in for the kill is difficult to say, but he is certainly coming at you teeth out. This is more than just a play fight. How do you react to that?
I probably roll over as he barges into me, come up and bear my dad.
Cool. So I think I'm going to have you roll mauling here, as you are defending against an attack. So that is a roll with teeth.
So teeth is temporarily 2.
Yep.
That's 7, 8, 9. Then
9. Cool.
On a 7 to 9, choose 1. You take -1 harm. You deal +1 harm. You discern your opponent's next move. You knock someone out. You impress or intimidate someone. Do not take -1 forward on your next give in to the wolf move.
Yeah. Oh, I will also just point out as well, just for clarity at this point, as he comes, you can tell that he is he is out. He is out of control. You sort of know this. It's something that you know how to spot the signs of it, sort of thing. He's clearly sort of in a frenzy at the moment. So that's something that is abundantly clear to you.
I'm just checking in here. Mal didn't make the move, did he? He transformed in a nice, orderly manner.
No, Mal failed the roll.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. Beg your pardon. Right. Then I think I'm going to take my life in my hands for tomorrow, and I'm going to knock him out.
Okay, that's cool. I think, if I may, I'm going to. No, actually, that's cool. That's perfectly fine. That's I was thinking of tweaking that side, but no, that's cool. I will. That's more than fair. You can have that. Yeah, I think you kind of as he comes in, you sort of. It's clear that just like growling at him isn't holding him back, and he leaps in for you again. And I think you sort of grab his throat in your teeth, but you don't. You kind of soft mouth it, but you pull him down and batter him hard against like the dry stone wall, and he probably lets out a sort of yelp and collapses unconscious onto the floor.
I'm assuming, because I chose not to take -1 harm, therefore yes. I do take harm in this.
You do take harm, which will be I think we'll probably call it. It's either 2 or 3 harm. I think we'll say. Just having a quick look at the guidelines. Here we go. Yeah, two harm as base is what a wolf does. So
and I'm assuming in the harm track we start with improving and work our way down and to the right.
That's right. Yep. So I'll briefly explain the harm track. So you have 3 harm boxes at improving. That basically means if you have that amount of harm, that will, given time, you will recover from that harm. Once you go into the next tier, so once you're into the stable tier, you will not get any worse, but you will also not just heal naturally. You will need some form of intervention to regain any of that health. Once you've got into worsening, then, as the name suggests, if you do not receive medical attention, you will continue to lose health until you die. When you are in wolf form, you have an additional 2 health boxes. Those do not carry over when you return to human form. Also, it should be pointed out that when you return to human form, I think you automatically heal 3 harm boxes, or 2 or 3 harm boxes from wolf form. But yes, sorry, is you automatically heal 2 harm boxes. So if you, as long as you haven't maxed out your wolf hit boxes and died because of that, then you won't die because you've turned back into being a human, basically. You may die soon after, but
and once Mal is out of the picture, I will, and I'm seeing the other 2 closing, I growl at them, daring them to stay with him rather than continue the hunt with me. So I'd like to roll to dominate them.
Certainly. So I'll give again a brief explanation of the of how this works. So the dominate is lets you give an order to someone or several people, and basically how well you do depends on whether they have to obey you or not. They potentially can roll to disobey. That's a choice that may be open to them depending on how well you get on your roll. Once they've done that, you have to do it again. I will just make a point of stipulating that part of the rules for this move is that you cannot use this to either induce somebody to suicide or to break sexual consent. The rules do not allow you to do that. I know that's not what you're doing here, but just to drive that point home, as it is a specific part of this rule. So yeah, if you'd like to make me that teeth roll, please.
Milking this improved teeth.
Indeed.
So +2 again. Oh, that's 11. 10 plus. You take full control of the situation. PCs cannot disobey your current order, but forcing them to do it comes at a cost. They will take a +1 tie on you because some decisions come back to bite.
Yeah.
And we can't roll to disobey.
No, you're not allowed
right?
to.
No, okay.
That's right.
Interesting.
Yeah. So yes, you have both been commanded to guard Mal while Pete carries on the hunt.
No.
Sorry.
Ignore Mal and continue to hunt with me.
Sorry, yes, I'd had it the wrong way around in my head.
If I can't get Jim on his own, I'll take Jim in company.
Yeah, fair. This could even arguably be a challenge roll, but I don't think I want to get into that quite this early on in things.
No, I mean I've just had a look and it says this could be treated as a make a challenge instead. I choose not to. Thank you.
And also technically, what you're doing here isn't you're not ordering them to disobey the alpha's orders because the alpha's orders were to hunt. So you're technically ordering them to continue following the alpha's orders despite, the situation having changed.
I'm just lucky he's unconscious, because at the minute I would struggle to disobey him if he came on strong.
Yeah. Cool. So yes, both Josie and Jim will gain an extra tie on Pete. Cool. And
I'm kind of curious
yeah,
what Jim is thinking right now. If there's any space for thought.
I think Jim is a little bit conflicted, but was probably leaning toward following Pete anyway. I think Jim is a little bit mad still at Mal that since he, while Jim was away, decided to banish my good friend Mary. So like, yeah, not super well inclined toward Mal right now anyway. So but like I think if Jim sees Josie hesitating, like he'll try to wait to see what she does.
I mean, I'm going to leave because I have to,
Right.
mechanically. But yeah, I think because like she hero worships Mal, and like seeing him just like thrown against a wall, like 2 seconds into this night, I think like in that moment she's probably afraid of Pete, right? Because like he just took Mel out and now like turned and threatened us.
That sounded very much like you just admitted what you were afraid of there. To Jim. So
this is more like interior stuff, I think, but some of all of this is like conveyed with like hesitation and body language.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say you can because the spill does work in wolf form as well. So if you want Jim to be able to pick up on that from your sort of body language and demand, then that certainly counts as a spill.
Oh yes, please.
So yeah, you will. Jim will gain another tie on you, and you will add one to the pack pool. Cool. And yeah, I'm going to call another quick 5-minute break there, so come back at 22, and then we will pick up with where we end up next.
Strikes me, David, you don't need anything planned for this. Pack dynamics are simply dangerous.
Indeed, yeah. It's a very good. It's got a good random. Well, no, not random, but yeah. It's designed to sort of very quickly spiral into interesting outcomes. So where we'll actually start off is whilst the rest of you run off on the hunt. I will come back to you momentarily, or well, shortly anyway. But I want to return to Mal. So Mal, you've probably been a bit groggy, and after being concussed, you probably had some slightly odd, like, dreams running through your head. But being a werewolf, you recover from those sort of things quite quickly.
Do I have to? Do I have any harm marked or?
No, you didn't take any. You didn't take any harm. Oh, actually, no. I suppose technically you probably took 2 harm. Sorry, yes. For I forgot that you automatically exchange harm as part of the move, and then yeah. So you should have taken 2 harm, which yes, it is fairly inconsequential as these things go. Because I think, in fact, when you do come to, you are back in your human form, and as I say, when you return to human form, you automatically heal 2 harm. So that essentially that harm will have gone. However, it's you're not even, you don't, it's that sort of thing where kind of like after a night of heavy drinking, or like where you come out and you can't even remember exactly why it was that you ended up unconscious in the first place. You remember letting the moon sort of flow through you and letting it draw the wolf out, and then there was just nothing apart from the pain and the unconsciousness. It wasn't great. However, what you very quickly become aware of is that you are not where you were. You appear to be inside somewhere. It's dark in here. There's maybe a little bit of moon or starlight spilling in, but it's cold and it's damp and it smells musty. You think you're underground. There is cold stone underneath you and a strange musty scent in the air. You also you can feel ropes tied around your arms and legs.
Things are looking up. Okay. I'll try and change into the wolf to see if that helps gets me out of the ropes.
Absolutely.
And as I'm doing it, I'm howling at the top of my lungs because I'm a bit afraid, but I don't want to show it. But that's how I'll let that out. Yeah,
sure thing. And yeah, just the act of turning into a wolf slips you free of the bonds. They weren't particular. They weren't a particular impediment. And the howl echoes out. There. As you do howl, there are footsteps coming down it sounds like footsteps coming down the stairs from somewhere ahead of you, and you can smell a familiar scent on the air. It's you know him. It's the scent of Amos Crowther, the banished werewolf, as he comes down the steps towards you. And he says, well, Mal. It looks like your friends have abandoned you. Their loss is my gain, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm just growling at him, and if he moves, I'm going to bite his leg.
Yep, and I think the pair of you know where this is going to go at this point. You see he has a as he came down and said, there's a bit of light spilling in. You'll notice like a glinting knife in his hand, but he drops that to the ground, and I think as you sort of lunge towards him, he turns into a wolf as well and comes at you, and I think the two of you clash. We will go for a mauling roll here, please.
What's that with?
That's with teeth.
10-2. Okay. 12.
Excellent. So on a 10 up, you get to choose 2 off of the list. You get to you take one less harm from the exchange, They deal one additional. You deal one additional harm from the exchange. You discern your opponent's next move. You knock someone out, or you impress or intimidate someone.
I think I'll take one less and I'll give him one more.
Yep, that's good. So yeah, you will take. You'll just take the one harm from that exchange in that case, and he will take 3. And we will go and see how the rest of the pack is doing out on the hunt. So yeah, Jim, you are now out. Well, I mean, I suppose you were originally leading the pack, but you continue to lead the pack, and the other 2 catch up with you. It said if I feel the need for NPC pack members, I will introduce them at some point, but I don't think we do at the moment.
I think you meant Pete, not Jim, but yes.
Yes, I did mean Pete, not Jim.
I think that it's probably time to determine whether I heard that howl that I will know is Mal.
Yeah, that would sound to me like you would be harnessing the wolf to use your senses and instincts to find out what's going on.
Okay. What a shame that I reduced heart to 0.
No, sorry, it is feral. The heading is incorrect on that one, I think.
Okay, then +1 feral. Yes, +1 feral. Oh, that's a 10.
Excellent.
Can I just clarify, the howl wasn't, there's people nearby, it's there's something very wrong.
Yeah. Cool.
So on a 10, ask 3 questions.
Yeah.
So who is the weakest here? And I'll throw this open because we've got 3 questions, pack mates. Who is the weakest here? Where is the trail? Where is my prey? What is the strongest emotion in this location? What do they really want? What is the biggest threat to the pack? What smells wrong here? Who or what is dominant in this situation? Where is the escape route through? Where does the pack need to be? I would like to start with, where does the pack need to be?
Certainly. That howl, you will recognize it as Mal's howl. It's slightly oddly muffled and echoey. It kind of throws off your direction on it a little bit, but you kind of pick up the vague direction it's in, and that's when it sort of clicks into your head as to why that is. There is an old barrow out on the moors in that direction, and that would certainly explain the odd acoustics to his howl.
What other question do we want to ask, pack mates?
Wavy useless flavor.
Something very strange has just happened to your voice from where I'm sitting. I think you just were twisted by the deep occult of this moorland. Can you say it again, Sarah? Is mechanically that allowed, David? Can we hold these questions?
Yes, I believe so. Actually, I'll double check. Yes, at any time during the scene, you can ask the following questions. So yeah, if you wanted to, head towards the barrow and then pick up more questions as you get closer, that would be more than fair.
So I think that that Pete, his head will cock to one side. He'll look at the others and then look in the direction of the barrow, and head off at fastest pace. assuming they'll follow.
Excellent. That sounds good. Yeah. So I think we'll flick back to Mal. So yeah, you've clearly got the upper hand in this fight at the minute, and Crowther is hurting, but he's no, by no means out of the fight. However, he does. I think he is going to start to back up the steps so that you can't kind of get around his side so easily. He will continue like snapping at you if you kind of follow him, but he's clearly kind of trying to withdraw out of the barrow onto more open ground. What do you do?
Yeah, that's fine. I'll let him. I'll chase him.
Yep, sure thing. So yeah, I think you chase him out of the barrow, and as you come out, you'll and I mean you'll come out, and there several men stood around. They do all appear to be they are certainly all at the moment in human form, and they're all actually dressed in like basically robes. You know, they're sort of cold robe type fare. They probably shrink back a little bit as these wolves barrel out of the barrow towards them. But yes, are you going to just continue going after? Are you going to continue going after Mal? Going after Crowther, Mal.
Can I kind of feint lunging for one and just run under one of their legs and run for it?
Yeah, absolutely.
My back's not here. I don't give a shit what they think of me.
That's fair. It's definitely wolves fight smart, not the other thing. So yeah. Yeah, no, and I think that is fine. I think that you are able to. I think that you are able to do that, to make a break away from here, and you can start heading back towards where you think your pack were or may have been. Again, you can probably pick up on that in a moment. And I don't think that Crowther is immediately going to come chasing after you. The people also behind you don't seem to show any signs of turning into wolves. They don't smell like werewolves.
Yeah, okay.
But
I'm kind of listening for them, but sniffing for the pack.
Yep, sure thing. Cool. So we'll switch back over to the pack as you're getting closer to the barrow now. There's possibly a bit of a scent of smoke on the air, and you can see maybe a couple of just like burning brands being held up, sort of thing, in the vicinity of the barrow.
Pitchforks outlined against the moon.
Indeed.
What was Josie wanting to do when we got here? Which question?
What really one?
So you're still breaking up a bit. I don't know if it's worth maybe logging out and back in again. Your voice is breaking up quite a lot.
Yeah, so low and so I'll be to
What about how does it work, David? If Sarah leaves the session, oh, fine. You're muted, David.
It's this bloody spacebar. I don't know why it's not doing the unmute properly. But yeah, no, I think hopefully it will give her a moment to log back in again. But yeah, hopefully that will sort it.
I think I can help you with the space bar. I think the shortcut is the M key.
Right, that would explain it. Oh yeah.
Has anything happened? Do you need me to say
Yeah,
anything?
no, we were just waiting for you.
Yeah, no, that's you sound perfect now. That's great. that
Okay.
was yeah.
So
Weird.
yeah. Then what do they really want was the question that seems most appropriate to me.
Yeah. So what you will see, I think, as you're coming sort of over the hill above this the barrow now, I think at this point you can probably see Mal running out from one side, and you see one of the. I think you'll see one of the robed figures will have gone back down into the barrow, and they will come out, and you will see in their hand they have a sharp looking knife. It's this is clearly not like a knife that is used for it's not like a kitchen knife or anything like that. This is a knife that is designed to cut people open in an unpleasant fashion. It looks nasty. There's possibly even a you can possibly even scent, like there's obviously the scent of blood in the air from the fighting that's been going on, but you can almost smell like old blood wafting through the air from this knife. And yeah, you suspect that they wanted to I mean, this definitely looks like some form of ritual sacrifice thing was going on here.
We've still got a third question. Jim?
I think, let's see. I think we know what smells wrong here. And we know what they really want. I almost want to say who or what is dominant in this situation. But I mean, obviously the guys with the knife, are kind of in control, but
yeah. Okay. I will. No, I think I can work with that one. So, as things stand at the moment, unless these humans have any abilities that you are unfamiliar with, anything strange and eldritch that they can do, you are very much in a dominant position here. You are 4 werewolves. They are some people. You might notice maybe a couple of them have like shotguns, but these are like double-barreled farmers' shotguns. We're not talking like military-grade weaponry here. But you think that situation might change quite soon because you can smell other wolves on the air coming towards you. It smells like another pack maybe en route.
I'm conscious of our tradition not to harm townsfolk of Hades. So I want to use my superhuman sense of smell to see if there's anyone in this group that is one of the townsfolk. How many rabbits are around here? Because if there are, our options are constrained. Yeah. So that's plus feral. So that's +1. Oh gosh, 8. 7 to 9. You do it. but the MC describes how the situation is not under your control.
Yes. Yeah, I will give you. I'll give you that, and I'll sort of build on what I said before. So you can definitely smell a few of the people in the robes are definitely townsfolk. Again, we get into the whole, at the point that they're doing dark blood rituals on the moor, do they really count as townsfolk that you have to protect? Probably not.
We're known to be slightly rules loyally as a pack.
Exactly. But yes, what you will also definitely pick up that there is this other pack that you can scent on the air are definitely coming this way, and they will be here soon. This is not like a kind of like, maybe half an hour or so. They are imminently arriving. They're clearly moving at some speed.
I think that I don't know if Jim and Josie are looking to Pete at this point, but I think Pete's getting cold feet, because if he gets this wrong, he has so far sailed close to the tradition wind, but he's worried about this crossing a line. So I think we see Pete acting all uncertain.
Excellent. And is that a spill by any chance? It definitely sounds like it might be.
Yeah, spill is so easy to stumble into.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I will make it clear by kind of putting my head down on the ground, and kind of whimpering slightly that Pete doesn't know what to do. And that is the honest truth of what he is feeling. So I would like to add one pack pool and give both my pack mates a tie on me, which is beginning to sound like I'm bound in bondage.
Can I see them, or am I far away? How?
No, I think by this point you will be approaching. You'll be here.
You're used to Pete's whining. You'll hear that miles away.
And yeah, you can hear that hesitancy in his voice.
I'll say whatever the wolfy equivalent is. So let's kind of run through the trees for a bit and try and get a better position. We're going to use the terrain.
Yeah, that sounds good. Well, you have just been given an order by your alpha. So unless anyone wishes to disobey that order, then you will be bound to follow Mal as he begins to lead you off through the trees. Does anyone wish to not follow?
I know my place.
Yeah. I figured that would be the case. So, yeah, I think I will have you roll to act on instinct, please, Mal, and we'll see how kind of whether you get to good ground before you get caught up with. I think is essentially what we're looking for here, whether you manage to get into a superior position over the wolves that are coming for you, or whether
no is the answer. I got a 4.
oh dear, that's
Now, question, the pack pool, is that something we can draw from to add to our rolls? Or?
You can. So
can I just, before we go to pack pool, how does tie work in this case?
So tie only works on rolls when you are specifically targeting the person you have the tie with.
Oh, sorry.
So like, say, yeah, if you were doing like the provoke spill, you could spend tie on that. But if you're not targeting another person you have tie with, you can't spend to up the thing. But yeah,
so I can't spend my tie on Mal to kind of that way?
No,
way.
that's where that. But yes, as Sarah pointed out, you can use you can use pack pool to assist. You can spend up to 3 pack pool to assist a pack member, assuming you meet all the conditions, which you do at the moment. So what I will let you know at this moment, though, you have a couple of options. So yeah, obviously you can spend 3 pack pool to bump that up to a 7, which would be the next tier up.
Yeah, I'll do that. You got plenty.
But I will point out the other options you have available to you as well, just in case it sways your decision. You also have there is one of the pack moves that you have is called Defend Territory. When you spend it costs 8 pack pool to do, but it allows you to basically it gives you all bonuses when you are fighting in defense for your home territory, which you definitely would be here. Or you can try and save them up, because if you get 12 pack pool, you can essentially cash that all in to utterly overwhelm your opposition. So I'll leave the decision up to you. But if somebody wishes to assist Mal, then they can spend those three pack pool to do so, or you can play it out and see what happens.
Just pointing out too that it looks like we also have access to In Your Nature, which is kind of a spidery thing. Like we anticipated this and we have a plan.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, that could also be. You could also bring that into play if you wished. Which again you do have enough for at the moment.
I think the question about that one is mechanically, how would it help? It could give us some fictional positioning.
Yep.
And I'm nervous at the minute that, having acting on instinct, the MC is about to make a hard move. So I'm tempted to spend pack pool to avoid the hard move. What do we think?
Yeah. By all means, as I say, I have no dog in the race. I'm happy for you to see which. I just wanted to make sure, because I hadn't explained the pack moves previously to that, so I just wanted to make sure you were all aware of what your options were when it came to pack. But yeah, Alan, if you wish to assist Mal in leading this tactical retreat, then you can spend those 3 pack pool to bump that up to a 7.
He rolled 5. I only need to spend 2.
Oh, okay, cool. Yep. Sorry, I couldn't remember the exact number. Perfect. And
I'm going to growl intimidatingly at him, as if to say, "Well, that was a bloody stupid suggestion. Where have you been?"
I'll say, insert bad guy's name here is back. I got 3.
Is that by any chance what you were afraid of, Mal? Nudge, nudge.
No, I'm not afraid of him. I'm just not stupid. They had silver.
Well, might you be at all angry about any of this?
Yeah. Do you want to make a roll to provoke spill there? Alan, I think is
okay. Heart is 0 while I'm in wolf form. Great. Oh shit, 5.
Okay, so
we just spent 2 pack pool to avoid a hard move that just shifted.
Yeah. So I think what happened is you have to kind of get the big picture on what happened. You managed to get through the trees, and you've got into a better position. But by this point, obviously the other wolves have centered where you are and are coming towards you. You've kind of broken up their charge. They're not going to have as much of an upper hand on you. But I think as as Pete, I'm going to get the name right this time, turns around and sort of growls at Mal. It takes his attention away from sort of the direction that he'd been like looking in, and at this point a wolf will barrel out of the shadows and leap on him. And you can take me to harm there, please, Pete, as the first of the wolves crashes into you.
I'm gonna immediately like jump at the wolf that's attacking Pete.
Sure thing. So if you'd like to roll me mauling, please, which is with teeth.
Sure.
I'm not. I'm just staying alert because I'm expecting more. Actually, no, I'm going to go in front of Josie because I'm protective.
Sure thing.
That is 10 because I have 2 teeth.
Excellent. So yeah, on a 10 up, you do harm as established. So basically, wolf versus wolf here, and you can choose to either take 1 less harm, deal 1 more harm, discern your opponent's next move, knock someone out, impress or intimidate someone, or choose the option of do not take -1 forward on your next give in to the wolf move. Which, yeah, honestly, you can probably ignore that for now because we're probably not going to be on for much longer. But
I want to impress or intimidate this wolf. I want him to back down. And I will discern my opponent's next move.
Yeah. Okay. So no, those two go together quite nicely. So yeah, you will take 2 harm, as will the one who attacked you. And what you will what you'll do is it kind of whimpers and scatters back into the tree line again. Back out of the tree line again. And it's what you realize, and from like the center of the other walls as they try to surround you, they're having a bit of difficulty because you're where you've got to. It's essentially where the hill gets steeper, so they can't really flank you round from behind. They've got to just sort of focus on the front half. But you can tell that they're doing that like classic wolf tactic where they're intending to like sort of essentially one of them will strike in from somewhere and retreat, and then another will strike in from somewhere else to kind of keep you disoriented, and that. But like I said, you've kind of broken that a bit because when this one retreats, it doesn't retreat in a kind of orderly. You've clearly rattled this one, and he wasn't expecting you to be quite as quick on the uptake after he'd gone in for his first strike. But yes, you can tell that's sort of essentially how they are intending to attack you here.
Can I do We Are the Pack?
That sounds good. Yeah.
I'm gonna say I'll say you're not welcome here. This is our territory. We are masters of this domain. You will leave with your lives or not leave at all. Do I have to roll or anything? Or?
I don't believe so. I think it just I think that's just does a thing. I can't remember what thing it does.
Three back in your pack pool.
Nice.
And with that, can we then do like a territory defend thing you mentioned before?
Yes, you certainly can. To defend your territory, you can pay 8 into the pack pool. This place is yours, your sanctuary, pay from the pack pool. The place is yours, your sanctuary, your stronghold, your home. When the pack defends its home territory, each packmate can improve their next roll on one of dominate, maul, or give in to the wolf by 1 category. Turn a miss into a weak hit or a weak hit into a strong hit during this scene.
Is there an opportunity to do something before that happens?
Certainly, if you want to, because yes, you haven't necessarily spent that yet, so you have now enough to do so.
Because I'm conscious that Jim stepped in when Pete got into trouble there, And so what I'd like to do is to have Pete turn to Jim, who took two harm, and just gently lick the wound, wishing to provoke some sense of returned affection.
So you are, would you say you are expressing your desire for a member of the pack there?
Oh, I was trying to provoke a spill, but yes, I was trying to provoke a spill. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that could count as a spill in its own right, if you wish it to.
Slight risk that heart is not what it was, but let's give it a go.
Oh no! I was going to say, if you are spilling, then that would you don't need to roll. That's just a thing that happens.
Oh, sorry, right. You're right. Well, then I will do, and I will also roll that 8 to provoke a spill from him back. I am showing emotion. I will add 1 to the pack pool, and I will give Jim another tie.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I think, let's see, you have a bunch of wounds yourself, right?
I do.
Yeah. So Jim kind of like whines and like looks at your wounds and gets between you and the attacking wolves because like you're injured and he's protecting you.
That sounds like Jim just spilled.
Yep.
I think that is I am afraid that you're gonna get hurt or killed here. That's what I'm afraid of.
So that gives us the 13th pack pool, and finally Pete gets another tie on somebody else.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, if you wish, now you have 12 pack pool. So someone can, if they wish, trigger the overwhelm them move. We'll read this one out as well. So you pay 12 pack pool, and no matter the odds, no matter your differences, the pack comes together and fights as one. Nothing can withstand you, and this battle is yours. Everyone describes one awesome thing they did, and the packmate who chose to make this move describes the overall glorious victory. So who wants to kick off that ability? Because I think that is a sensible point for us to do it. Because we're coming up to, if we do that, I think we'll roll through this move. We'll have your glorious victory, and then we can go into some little epilogues. And I think that's where we'll finish things.
I'm going to do my protective thing for I've forgotten her name already. Josie. Like one wolf leaps towards her, and I'll grab him midair and flick him into another one. So 2 of them are taken out, and I've protected her and stood my ground.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's awesome. Who wants to go next?
I think like from behind Mal, Josie will like just like dart out and like nip at somebody's heels and then retreat and then do it again and then do it again and then do it again.
Excellent. Yeah.
And like kind of drawing people back. Kind of drawing people back toward Mal too, so like he can actually take them out.
Brilliant. Yeah. Jim. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, it's a Pete. Go ahead. So I was just picking a name at random. So it's.
I think that given the way that that his give in to the wolf went earlier, I think that that Pete goes full feral and is just tearing out throats left, right, and center. He's not taking prisoners tonight, human or wolf.
Cool. Excellent. And yeah, Jim, what do you do?
I think Jim is mostly still like bluffing and intimidating until until either Josie or Pete is in serious danger, and then just like no holds barred, just goes after them and like shreds throats along with Pete.
Brilliant. And I'll come back round to Alpha Mal. How does the overall how does your overall glorious victory look as you drive off the last of these interlopers?
I think we sort of start forming a bit of a sort of a V shape as you start sort of herding them in one direction, and they run off. Even though a couple of them are dead because Pete's a bit overzealous tonight.
Excellent. Yeah, that's perfect. And yeah, I think we see kind of the as the last of the wolves are driven off yelping, the clouds sort of close back around and obscure the big blood moon in the sky. And just for a moment, everything is silent and there's a moment of peace across the moorlands. And yeah, I think that's where we'll finish the game as for proper to this afternoon. I will just go through and ask if you want to give a brief epilogue for your character, just as something that we sort of see of them, whether it's in the immediate aftermath of the battle or sometime into the future. So again, I'll just go through in order of the character keeper. I think no, I will go in reverse order, actually, if that's okay. So I will start with Josie, if that's okay. What sort of do we see for Josie's epilogue?
Like, there's definitely like a shot of her talking to Mal and like telling him what actually happened that night, but then like sort of like immediately doubling back and saying, but don't get mad, sort of thing.
Awesome.
And then I think the shot of her like walking down like High Street in the middle of town and like looking like in windows at like things that aren't really part of our world anymore. Like she feels very separate from this in this moment. And we see like another full moon in the sky, but it's daytime.
Cool, I like it. Thank you very much. So, Jim, what do we see for your epilogue?
So I think it's just right immediately afterward. Like we maybe go back to that the sheep shelter and kind of limping and licking our wounds, literally, and transform back into humans. But I think for a moment, Jim is still acting very wolf-like and just kind of comes up to Pete and like curls around him like protectively, like a wolf would, with a cub, and like is kind of looking at his wounds like, oh, are you okay? Are you okay?
Lovely, thank you. And Pete, what do we see for you?
I think that we see Pete arriving back at the Townsend family farm on the edge of town, carrying his dead sister Mary, because of course it was the Talons who were those wolves, and in his frenzy he doesn't realize he killed his sister until she transforms back in death. And I think he lays her on the table, and then you see him get on the Vespa and drive out of town.
Nice. That's a suitably tragic ending. Thank you. And finally, Mal, what do we see of him in the aftermath of this battle? Oh, sorry, you're muted. So everyone has to have a turn.
On the way back in wolf form, they'll sort of check on each of them, and he'll say to Josie he was worried and he's glad she's okay. When I think he sees Pete ride off, and he looks sort of sad and sort of says to Jim, he'll be back. But it's almost like he's telling himself that he'll be back because he needs to hear it.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, everyone. That was really good fun. Nice, I think the sort of tragedy and victory thing is very on brand for this. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for playing. I'm going to stop the recording now once I fiddle about with some screens.